Today we will create a game like this. So this is a game which is called Space Invaders. In 80s or 90s, people played the games with a arcade device like this, which is a very big device, and they played these kind of small games, which is called arcade games. So we will be able to create something like this where there's a little ship here, and the enemies are firing some bullets over the space, and we can shoot some bullets from ourselves as well, and we have to be safe from the bullets coming in. But guys, because we don't have a display in our microbit device, we will be able to use this LED matrix. So guys, we will use this LED matrix, and we will create some small game which we can play with our microbit device. Okay. So then we will start to work with a sprite. So guys, in our Scratch session, we used small characters with our games. So we call them sprites. In here also, we have a tab called games here. So we have a set of blocks that we can use to develop some games. So we will be able to use them to design or develop our game. Then, okay, now, first of all, I will create the ship. So it will be like this. And for represent a ship, I will use a LED from the LED matrix. Okay. Then here, so what I want to do is I will create a ship like this. So the ship will be represented with a single LED. First of all, I have to create a variable. So this is a very important concept that we are using in programming. A variable is something which represent with a name, and we can put something into the variable. So the variable have a name and a value. So when you are doing the programming in programming languages like Java, Python, or anything, you will be able to use those variables. Now I will create a variable which is called ship. Okay. Then usually in programming, we will use variables to save numbers and strings, characters, like things like that now. But here, I will use the variable to represent a single LED representing here. So first of all, I create the variable, then I will use this set block, and I will drag it here to on start, and then I'll create the sprite here. So what I want to do is I will drag the create sprite block here, and I'll drag and drop it here, and it will be perfectly fit with the set variable block. Now you can see an LED is turned on. So guys, when we are using this LED matrix, we can identify each single LED with its coordinates. So if I go and hold my mouse pointer in here, you can see 0, 0. And if I go here, it will be represent it will represent a certain value, and yes, this is 0, 1, this is 0, 2. Likewise, it will show a value. So that will be the coordinate. So here in this rows will be represent with the x value here, x value, and the columns are represented with the y value. So this will be the x0 and x1, x2, x3, x4, and then this will be y1, y2, y3. Likewise, sorry, it will start from 0, so it will be y0, y1, y2. Likewise, it will be represented. Did you get it? Now, because we have created the sprite at x at 2 and y at 2, it will represent 0, 1, 2, and from here it will be 0, 1, 2, and now it is lighted up here. So I want to make my ship at the very low end of the LED matrix. And to do so, I should change the Y value because I should move the LED to this row, which is in that below, so that I can change my Y to 4. Now it has moved to the very end LED row. Did you all get it, guys? Should I explain it again? Guys? So if you need any explanation, you can ask. Students, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I can hear you.
Okay. Did you get what I mentioned? How to use the LED matrix?
Not very well, sir.
Okay, I will explain it again. So guys, we have a LED matrix here. Okay, we have to identify each single. We have to specifically identify each single LED from the matrix. So we use a coordinate system called XY coordinate. So here, this is the LED rows, and each row can be identified with X value. Okay. So the X value of this LED will be X0, and this will be X1, X2, X3, X4. Likewise, we can name this LEDs with X value, and simultaneously, there will be a Y value with the LED as well. So if when I go to the LED and hold my mouse pointer to each LED, there you can see there is a value which is popped up. So this here you can see inside the bracket there is 0, 0. That means the X value of this LED will be 0 and the Y value of the LED will be 0. And if I go here, and it will be 0, 1. That means X value of this LED is 0 and Y value of this LED is 1. Likewise, we can name an LED with X value and Y value. We have to use both X and Y value. Okay. So this any LED in this entire row has the X value of 0. This one has the X value of 1. Sorry, this one any LED in this row have Y value of 0, and this row it will be 1. And for these columns, you can see that any LED in this column is 0, and here it will be 1. Likewise, we can name an LED. So for an example, I'll light up some LEDs and show you. So here I created this sprite at 2 and 4. X is 2 and Y is 4. So guys, if you look at the matrix, I have lighted up 2 and 4. That means my column will be 0, 1, 2. That means X is, because X is 2, it will be 0, 1, and 2. and y will be 4. For that, we have to jump into certain rows, and this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here I have light up the this LED. Then for example, if I light up the 0, 0 LED, it will be like this. So if I change my Y value, it will go down. Okay. Then let me come back to 0, 0, 0, and now it is like this. And if I change my X value, I can move my LED like this. So first of all, I want to set my LED to the row in the very bottom, and to do so, I will use X value as 2 and Y value as 4. Now it is in the very bottom. Now guys, because I have used a variable to identify my sprite, which is the LED, I can use the variable again and again to mention the same LED, or we can move the LED using this name. So what I want to do is I want to move my LED using these two buttons. Okay, so guys, to take these buttons as input, I have to use this input tab, and I will use this block, which is on bottom, on button A pressed. And then if I go to my games tab, I will find something like, let's check. Okay, I'll use this one. I want to use my ship, and so select ship here, and I want to change its X value by 1. Okay, so once I move press button A, I can move my LED with LED using its X value. So let me change it to B. So once I press B, it will move my LED to right. That means my ship is moved to right. So I want to move my ship to left as well. So what can I do? So I want to move it when I press A. Now I have set my button B to move my LED to right, and to do so, I can go back to my input block, and then I will use the button press block, and for button A, and I'll go to game tab. Then I want to change my ship's X value, and previously to move my ship to right, I use +X. Now I can use -1. Now when I play it, once I press B, what happens is to the X value or the previous X value, which is 2 here, will the block will add 1, so it will change it to 3. Okay, can you see it? The X value is 3 now, and again it will change it to 4. When I press A, it will subtract 1. So once I press A, it will subtract 1 from its x coordinate. Now it's 2. When I press A, then x value will be 1. Likewise, I can move my sprite using these buttons. Did you all get it? Can you make the same thing so we can continue with our game?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you have any question, you can ask. I will give 5 minutes. So it will be very easy. We have only 3 blocks. You can drag certain items and show me. Then we can continue. Okay. We have a lot more to build up. So be quick and we can finish the game within today's session. If someone has finished, please let me know so you can show what you have created.
Sir, can I show?
Yeah, you can show. Let me stop my sharing. Okay. Okay, nice. We will wait for some others as well. Then we will continue. So if anyone have any questions with what I taught you, you can ask. And yeah, Vihanga, can you show it? Okay, nice. So I'll give some more time so others also can join with us and we can continue with within same level and okay, Chatham, you can show us. Okay. Others, any questions? Did you all get how to use the LED matrix with its coordinates? Guys? So no one has any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Then we will go some further. Hope we all in the same page. Now let me share my screen again. Okay, we have created our shape and now I can move it here and there. Then what I want to do is I have to shoot bullets with my ship. So if I go to my presentation again and let me share it with you, you can see my ship can shoot some bullets. And I want to make something like this with my microbit. So that I'll go to my environment again. Then so in here we have used button A and button B as well. Now I want another button to shoot the bullets, so that I'll use button A plus B, which is mentioned in the block. So that means in real device this happens when we press both button A and B simultaneously. Now in the simulation environment, it will be A plus B. And now I want to create the bullet. So I create another variable to represent it and I'll name it as shoot. Okay. Then I'll create and I use this set block and I select the variable shoot and I create another sprite. So I go to the game tab and I create a sprite again. Okay. Now when I press A plus B button, there is a sprite here. So it is same as this one, but its coordinate is 2 and 2. So if I go here, it is 2 and 2. But in my game, the shoot should be start from where my ship is located. So the ship shoot the bullet, so it should start from the ship. So at very beginning, its coordinates should be the same coordinates of my ship. Okay. So that what I can do is, if I go to my game tab, there is a block like this. So when I drag it here, it can extract a certain parameter. It can be something like X value or Y value or its direction, brightness, something like that. So if I select some variable, it detect or it use the sprite which is representing with this variable and it can extract its certain parameters. So now I want to use my use the X value of my ship. So I can use ship and I can select X here. Now for my Y coordinate, I should select my ship's Y coordinate and it will be used as the Y coordinate of the bullet as well. So here again, I can go here, I can select this block and use ship and select Y. Now my bullet have the same coordinates of my ship. So it will start from the ship. And then when I press A plus B, the shoot will or the bullet will create here, but I can see it clearly because it is overlapped with the ship. Then now I have to shoot my bullet. That means the bullet should travel through this column so that its coordinate should be changed over the time. To do so, I can use a loop here. So I taught you about different loops that we can use in the scratch session. The loop means a block that will repeat its content in according to some condition or according to some time. So we can mention how many times it should repeat. So here, this is the block I want. And what I should do is my y coordinate of the ship, or no, not the ship, the shoot should be repeatedly changed 4 times. That means now if I change my y coordinate of my bullet, it should go to this LED, then it should go to this LED, and again it will go to this, and finally it should be here. So that should be changed its y coordinate, and for the first time it will be here, then second, third, and fourth. So it will be 4 times. So my loop should be repeat 4 times. And inside the loop, what should happen is it will change its y coordinates. So I can go to my game tab and go to this block, and my sprite is shoot, and it should change its y coordinates. And here if it's going downwards, it should be 1, but when it's go to the other direction, it will be -1. So you all know the negative of 1 will be -1, and here I have add here add 1 -1 here. So what happened is, once I press A and B, it went there, but we can't see the exact animation because it is very fast. So what I can do is when we repeat the statement, we can add a pause somewhere in the middle. So I use this block and I pause the thing for 100 milliseconds. And when I play, I can see my bullet is traveling through the column. So it is too much fast. I can use 500 milliseconds and then play it. Oh, I'll use something like 150. And then I can play. Okay, now I can shoot bullets, but the issue here is the bullet is stuck up here. So what I want to do is, when my bullet reach at the top, reach to the top column, top row, it should be disappeared. So that what I can do is I can delete this sprite when it reach to the topmost row. So again, I can go to my game tab, and there is a block called delete, and I can drag and drop it here. And once it has repeated 4 times, and when the loop is over, it should delete the bullet. Okay, now I'll try to play Nice. Now I can shoot anything, shoot the bullet from my ship. You can move the ship and you can shoot as well. Shall we create it? So if you have any question, you can ask and you can create what you have created. And here you have to understand about the loop. So we can use this kind of statement to repeat the command. So otherwise, what we can do is see what typically we can do is we can use this block. Let me show you what I should do in a, if we don't use a loop, we have to copy the same statement 4 times, copy the same blocks 4 times and okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And at the end, we should delete it. Okay, if we don't use a loop, we have to use this kind of repeatedly, we have to repeatedly use these blocks, but it is too much difficult and we are boring with using these kind of repetitive blocks. So what we can do is we can just go to loops and use the loops what we want, and we can write the statement only one time and it will repeat it again and again until our condition is true or according to time which we have given. So without duplicating my blocks, I can use loop and it should repeat 4 times, and then I can drag the content to inside and done. So that's the advantage of using loops. Okay. Okay, shall we create it? Once you have created, please let me know, then we can continue with our game. So if there's anything to clarify, you can ask, and once you have finished, you can raise your hands, and when you all done, we can continue with our game. Are we all good? Did you all get what I taught you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. So if there's any question, you can ask. And sorry, in this session, it's very limited to do some creative things, but you can learn some concept or programming concept with this session. So that's why I have selected to develop this game, and we can learn some important programming concept with it. Once you have finished with your task, you can raise your hand. Okay, two of you have finished the task. So can we see it? You can share your screen and show what you have done. Okay, very good.
Thank you, sir.
What about others? Okay, very nice. If you have anything I should explain again, you can ask me. I can repeat it or I can clarify your question.
Can you show the code? Can you scroll up? Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay. Shall we continue or shall we wait some more? Okay, 5 of you have finished the task. Okay, then we will continue the game. Even in the middle of the lesson, you can ask if there is anything to clarify. So it will be very easy to me to teach you. Now we have created our ship and we can shoot the bullets. And now I want to create the enemy as well. To create the enemy, create the enemy, I will create another variable and I will name it as enemy. Then guys, I will use this forever loop. So I mentioned in the previous session that something we have put into the forever loop will loop forever. So it will repeat again and again until we are running the program. So that's how the forever loop works. Now I want to shoot the bullets from the sky towards my ship. So if I go to my presentation, you can see there are some bullets which is coming from the top. So what I want to do is I want to make sure my bullets are coming from the top and it will come to my ship, which is in the bottom. And now first I should generate bullets in random positions of the sky. Okay, can you all hear me now, Will?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what I want to do is I want to generate my enemies in random positions. So that I'll use my variable and I use the same block again, and then I go to the game tab and create another sprite, and because I should generate my bullets, sorry, my enemies from this topmost column, sorry, topmost row. Can you guess what its y value should be to generate some enemies from that topmost row? What its value, y value should be? Can you guess? Anyone? You can put the value in into the chat. Okay, 5, 0. Someone has said 0. Yes, the correct value should be 0 because this row will mention when y, row will identify when y is 0, and it will go downwards. When it's going downwards, it will increase its value. So if I use x as 2 and y is 0, it will be in the top. Now what should be my x value? Because I should generate, I can use something pick random, and we used the pick random block in our previous session also. So it can generate some enemies in random positions, but because it's looped so quickly, all my LEDs were light up because all 5 LEDs were occupied with the enemies, and it will eventually fix when I continue with the game. So that I have picked a random position from 0 to 4. So this will be 0. This x value of this will be 0. This one will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are values from 0 to 4, and I will choose randomly. Then there's another property that can change. So here, if I go to here and if I use this block and select enemy here, instead of X, I can select brightness and I can give a value here as well. So if I play it again, you can see my brightness of my LEDs can be changed as well. Then because my enemies are spawning very quickly, I can use this pause block as well, and then you can see they're spawning with a time gap, which means it is a little bit slow. And then what I can do is I can go to this tab and turn my enemy by 90 degrees. Then I can use a loop to repeat and the enemies can float through the column, same as our bullets. So we will use the same animation we have used with our bullets. And now if I go to my presentation, you can see both of these have the same animations. These bullets from the enemies are shooting as same as the bullets from the ship, and we will create the same thing in here as well. So I can use a loop here, and here as well it should repeat 4 times, because 1, 2, 3, 4, and there will be 4 positions to jump, and it will repeat 4 times. And I can go games, and here I can use sprite move by 1, and let's play. Okay, here I should use enemy. There's no issue. Okay. I can use my pause inside the loop, and let's check how it works. Okay, seems it's working correctly. Okay. Enemy move by 1. Then what happen? Then what should happen is, once my bullet came to the very bottom, it should be disappeared. So that what I can do here is I can use a logic block. So if my enemy comes into the very bottom edge, it should be disappeared. So as I mentioned as if, so it should be a condition. Then I can use this logic block here. And then if I go to game tab, there is a condition where the sprite is touching the edge. So once the sprite touch the edge, this will executed. And if my sprite touch the edge, and the sprite should be enemy, what should happen here is the sprite should be deleted. So I can use the delete sprite tab here. I can use the delete sprite tab from the game tab, and I can put it there. So you can see once it is going went to the edge, it is deleted. I can shoot, I can move my ship, and my enemies are shooting as well. So can you repeat the same thing? If you have any question, you can ask. I'll give some time. You can repeat the thing and raise your hand if you have finished, or if you have any question, you can unmute and you can ask the question, or you can put the question into the chat as well. So I will give you 5 minutes. I think you can quickly repeat the task. So I have added another pause block to the middle of this part, and it will make my animation much better. Okay, 2 of you have finished it. Let's check on others as well. Okay, 3. Now it's 4. So guys, can you show what you have created? We will check whether it's working.
Sir, please show code in blocks.
Okay, I will show you. And then next, we will see what others have created.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions, guys? Anything to clarify? So did you guys notice that I have put this turn right block here? So what it happen is it will turn the direction, and according to the direction, or according to the uh, direction which the sprite has turned, this move by block will work. So if I turn it turn it with 0 degrees, my sprite move according to that angle. So let me turn it to 45 degrees and check how it will move. Now it will move with 45 degrees angle. Because I want it to move with this direction, I should use 90 degrees. Now it is perfectly moving according to the direction I want. Others, any questions? So the students, you have finished the task. Can you show it? Vihanga, can you show it? Okay, very nice. Okay. So Chatum, isn't it? Who shot the last thing? Yeah. You can. So I can notice that your enemy is blinking from the first row. So the issue is you may have missed this block, this pause block. So what happened is once it spawn in the top, it will hold it sometimes, actually 100 milliseconds. Then the animation will be much nicer because it will show up in the entire column. Okay, you can fix it by adding this block. I think you may have missed it. Did you get it? So others, can you show it? Can you show what we have created? Okay. Good. Minula, we can see your screen. Okay, nice. Uh, okay, nice, very good. Okay, now we can continue with our game. So we have created all the animations with our game. Now I have to make the conditions that what happened when my bullet hit with the enemy, or what happened the enemy hit with the ship, and what is the score. All these things I should create. So it's very easy in the microbit environment because we have all the necessary blocks here. So what we can do is we can drag and drop them and it will be there. So first I will define what should happen if the enemy hits with the sheep. So to make it, I use a logic block which is here in the logic tab. So if any situation, if my ship hit by a enemy, that should be the end of the game. So if for that I will drag and drop the block here. So at the end of the iteration, that means when my enemy is at the very bottom and both of these ship and the enemy are overlapped, it should be the end of the game and game should be over. So I'll go to my game tab and there is a condition where is sprite touching, and I can move here. And if my enemy is touching with my sheep, it should be the end. So to make sure my game is over, I can drag and drop this game over block. That is a inbuilt block with microbit or MakerBot, microbit environment with the make code. And now we can see what will happen. Okay, when it's overlapped, this kind of animation will appear, and it will appear with the use of this block with this game over block. Okay. Next. Then what should happen if my bullet hit an enemy? If it hit an enemy, the enemy and the bullet both should be disappeared, and I should get an score. So that I will drop and drop a logic block here. So in each iteration, it will check if the bullet is overlapped with an enemy. And I can use the same blocks, which is sprite touching. And if my enemy is touched with the shoot, what should happen is my enemy should be disappeared, and my shoot, that means my bullet should be disappeared, and then I should have a score. So there is a tab which is change score by 1, and here it is. And to make sure my score is 0 at the very beginning, I can set score block and put it into the on start, so that at the very beginning my score will 0. So what I have done here is in the on start I have put the set score 0 block here, and then if my enemy touch the ship, the game should be over. That happens when the the enemy travels to the very bottom, which means the end of the loop. So at the end of the loop, it will check the enemy is touching the ship, and if it happens, it will make sure that my game is over. And then to shoot the enemy, I have put the block here where at the end of each iteration, that means it will be inside the loop, and once the enemy is touching with the shoot, it will delete the enemy and delete the shoot, and it will add the score. So let's play and check. Okay, I have successfully gathered 1 point and 2 points. Okay, 3, 4, and let's check all is working well. And let's check whether our score is correct. Okay, my score is 4. Nice. So I have finished my game. Okay. Now let me zoom out, and these are the points I have changed. So can you repeat it? Or if you have any question, you can ask. I have taught you how to use a variable and how to use loops with it, and how to repeat the things with loops, and using logic blocks, and using sprite as well, how the matrix, LED matrix working in the microbit. So when you finish the task, you can raise your hands, and then we will check on your work. Then I will teach you about the method or the concept that we are working with programming, which is called functions. Okay, 3 of you has finished. Let me have some more time. So task is a little bit complex but easy, so you can do it. So only 4 of you have raised your hand. What about others? Are you all clear with what I have taught you? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you have any questions, you can put it into your chat or you can unmute yourself and you can talk. So if I repeat what we have done, we have created a variable called ship and we have created sprite and I have defined its location, and at the very beginning, or that means we on start, it should be located at the very bottom. So there's no problem with the X because that sprite can move here and there with the row which it's located, and my Y value should be 4. That means it will be in this row, the 4th row. The rows are counting from 0. So it's 0th row, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and Y should be 4. Then on my button press A, the X value of my ship will change by -1. That means it will move the opposite side. That means it means it will move to left side because we are counting from here 0, 1, 2, and -1 will be the negative. So it will go for the left side. And because we are only changing X and we don't change Y, it will be in the same row. And when I press A plus B, that means both of these buttons simultaneously, it will create a sprite which is named as shoot, and the XY coordinate of this shoot, that means the bullet, will be the same as the ship's XY coordinates. That means the bullet will start where the ship is located, and then I will repeat the movement of the shoot, and it should be changed by -1, and that means Y value will be changed with -1. That means my bullet will go this direction, which means upward, and then what happened here is I have used a forever loop. That means it will repeat again and again until my program is over. And I have created the enemy, and its sprite is generated in the very top end of the matrix so that the X value can be random and Y value should be 0, and making Y0 make sure that it is generated at the very top. And I have used the random number from 0 to 4. That means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the enemy can be spawned from any of these columns. And I have changed its brightness, and I have turned it into 90 degrees. Then I have repeated using repeat loop, and the enemy changed its position by 1. And to make the animation play well, I have used 500 milliseconds. Then I have used these three conditions here with the logic blocks. The condition at the very bottom is to make sure my animation is playing well. If my enemy touch the very bottom, which means the edge, it will delete the enemy. And the rest of the logic blocks are to handle the game rules. And here, this one is to make the game over, which means if my enemy is touching the ship, it will make sure my game is over. Or otherwise, if what I'm shooting or the bullet I'm shooting is touching the enemy, it will delete the enemy, delete the shoot, and it will give me a point. So hope you all did it well. So people who have finished, can you show it to us? I'll give you some chance. You can show. Okay. Okay, you can move. Okay. Anyone else? What about others? So if you have any questions, you can ask. Here's the box we are using. And guys, let's do some interesting thing. So here we have used the score and things which is given by this MakeCode software. Instead of that, shall we use our own score and own game of animation? So that I will delete this block. Change score by one block will be removed and set score will be removed. Then I will create a variable which is named as my score, and I will save my score in this variable. So typically we use variables to store the values, and we will give a name, and once we are in the middle of the program, we can refer the name and we can call the variable and we can change its value. So at the very beginning, which means on start, I will change my variable to 0. Then, okay, here, what I have done is I have changed my score to 0. Then I'll go to this block where my enemy is touching the shoot. Then I can change my variable value by adding 1 to it, so that I can go to variables and change. Okay, instead of using change where my score, I'll use set my score. So here, then I should change my score by adding a 1 to it. And to do so, I can use this math tab, and here there is maths operations. So I use this addition, and I changed my score by taking my score, and then I will add, my score, and I will add 1 to it. So if my score is 0, it will take my score and add 1 to it. Now it is 1, and then it will set as set the value again as my score. Now its value is 1. Then again, if this block is executed, what happens is it will take my score. So now it is 1, then it will add 1 again to it. Then it will save in the same variable. So now the variable value is 2. Likewise, it can add values. So we have create the score variable. Then I will create my own game over animation, so that I can use this block where enemies touching the ship. And here previously there was the game over block. Now I can use something. I can clear my score, clear my screen, and then I can show my own symbol, or I can show a game over message or something like that. Then I can show my score at the end as well. So I can use the show number block here, and I can show the score. So let's check whether it is working. Okay. To make it more beautiful, I can pause something here, pause the score here. Okay, number 0 is showing. I have collect single score. Now my score should be 2. Now it should be 3. Okay, now game over, and my score is appeared. Now my game over animation is okay. Then let's check, is there something that we can use to make it more beautiful? Okay, once I press this more button here, I have some more blocks, and before the animation happens, I can pause the game, the components related to the game, and then I can resume at the very end. Okay, now it's working very fine. So you can create your own game over animation, and let's check what we have created. So guys, if you have any question, you can ask. I'll answer to it, and so when you are finished with the task, you can raise your hand, then we can continue. So this is the part I have included here. So I will give you a couple of minutes. So the people who haven't created it yet, you can create it. And we will see what we have created, and then we will learn another important concept. Okay, can we see what you have created? Vihanga, what you can you show us what you have done, what you have created? Guys, can you please share your screen and show us whether you have done the task? Okay, nice. Anyone else? Okay, very nice. Okay, very beautiful. Very nice. So we can add a lot more things. So guys, let me teach some other concept as well. So here's the thing. Here at the previous task, or sorry, at the previously, I used this game over block here. Then I have add a couple of other blocks instead of this game over block. So now we will learn about functions, and then you will understand how the things work with this kind of situations. So if I go to my presentation, in a programming language, or in typical programming, we have a concept called function. So you may see the concept of functions in your mathematics as well. Typically, a function is a set of steps. So it has an input and it has an output. So once we give a certain input, it processes it with certain set of steps, and it will give a certain output. So let's assume your mother asked you to go to the shop and buy some bread. So as input, she will give you some money, and the task include a couple of steps. So you have to go to the shop and you have to ask about the bread, and you have to give the appropriate amount of money. Then you have to take the bread and you have to come back to your house, and then you have the output, which is the bread. So here the function represent the input and its set of steps, and the outputs here. The input will be money and the steps will be the task you are doing in the middle. The output will be the bread. So that's how the function works. And typically in programming languages, it has the function will have a name, and whenever we want to execute the certain function, we will call it by the name. So as example, we can take that the same example. So we can name it as going to the shop. So if we use the name as going to the shop, or we can say go to the shop. And when your mother asks and say go to the shop, you know that he will give some money, and you have to go to the shop, and you have to ask about the bread, and you have to process the certain steps, and at the end of the day, you will have bread as the output. And once your mother introduced the task, in the next time, she will not set of steps that you will use. So she just have to say only the name, and once he says go to the shop, you know what to do. So that's the very basic concept of using functions. So there will be a complex set of actions, but you can give a certain single name to it, and you can identify what is the inputs and what is the outputs, and it. So it's a simple concept, but we will use it in our programming more often, and it's essential to know the concept. So here, in my working environment, there is a tab called function. So you can create a function by your own. Then if I go here, there is a button called make function, and we can create a function. So what I'm going to do is I will create a function to include these 3 blocks, these 4 blocks. So here there should be a place to input my score, and the score should be displayed. It should clear screen, then it should show the symbol, then it should show my score, and it will pause the screen for a while. So I go to my function, and then I can give a function name. So I give as my function. Then I should define what should be my inputs. So my input for the function will be a number to include my score. So I'll name it as S. Okay, done. Then my function will be a separate block here, and I can create the same thing inside my function. So I will clear the screen, and I will show the symbol here, and the input will be S for the function. So basics, and I can show a number S, and I will pause my screen for a while. Then okay, now I can delete those blocks. And instead of all of those blocks, I can go to the functions tab, and there will be a function called my function, and we can call it. Now we can call the function, and this small block represents this entire set of blocks, and we can input certain values. And if I use 1 here, when the function is called, it will call all of these blocks, and this will be replaced with 1, and because it is 1 now, when we are asked to show number, it should show 1. So let me check whether it is creating. Okay, it's 1 now. Okay, nice. If I use 2 here, now this should be 2, and show number should show 2. So if I go here, and yes, it's working. Now instead of certain number, it should be my score. So I can use my variable, which is my score, and I can join it here. And let's check whether it is working. Okay, now it's perfectly working. So guys, even in any other place, if I want to use this set of blocks again, what I can do is I can go to functions and call the my function here. So in any so that's a very important concept to learn. So today's session we have learned about functions and variables and how to use loops and logic blocks as well. The most important thing I expect to teach you is the functions and using variables. So did you get what I have taught? Are you clear with the functions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when so if you have finished with the game, you can show it to us because we have some spare minutes. If you have created something. So if you have any questions with what I have taught you, you can ask now. Any questions? Are you all clear with the concepts that we have learned today? Okay, guys. So those are the concepts I want to taught you. So today's session is a little bit boring because it it is essential to learn the concepts because that will lead you to do more complex things instead of small interesting things. So that's why I choose this lesson to do in this session. But in next session, we will learn about using the pins of the microbit environment, microbit device, and we can learn how to interface it with external device. Sometimes we can start from blinking an LED, which is created as our own circuit, or using some interesting sensors. We can learn about those things in our next session. Then shall we wind up the session? So that's all I can teach you today. So it seems the lesson is little bit difficult or sometimes time consuming. So you can watch the video and do the task. And if you have any question, you can raise it in our next session. And that's all for today. Then we can wind up.